Hello, and welcome to another knitting podcast episode. So, this is episode 14, I believe, and this time I'm back with my notebook. It was kind of like annoying doing it with the iPad, and I don't know, sometimes you just can't beat, like non-tech tools essentially. But I am feeling a bit distracted today because they're playing music outside, but I'm just going to try and do my best to focus because I really want to record right now, because I have schoolwork to do after this. So yes, enough of all the chit chat. It's been a day since the last podcast. So in terms of like knitting progress, there isn't much. But I actually don't know how, I've only been working essentially on the scarf that I spoke about in the last episode. So this scarf is the hood scarf. It's from Daruma's 8th pattern book. And I just thought it was really pretty and I wanted to knit it. So I started 2 days ago in the evening. So the yarn that I'm using here now is actually this yarn. Oh, upside down. Walk yarn. It's dyed in Germany. It's a German company. And this yarn is a beautiful red. It's the color is called Chili, and it is Walk's Merino DK 100% superwash merino, and yeah, it's DK, so 225 meters per 100 grams. And yeah, I've been knitting these, not on these needles actually, that's dangerous, but on some needles that are here on my bed right now, the 3.5mm needles. Yeah, so like I said last time, these I bought like 3 of these skeins like right before I got my injury, and so it feels really good to actually like use them because I just thought it was such a beautifully like bright red color. So I really wanted to make something fun out of it, and the scarf just seemed like a perfect project for it, and it's been really, really fun. So this is actually the first section of the scarf. So it's a scarf hood. So essentially what happens is that, I have to be careful with the needles here, is that it's kind of like this, and then this section this section here is like the beginning of the hood. Clearly I still need to block it, but yeah, the pattern is really simple. It's just like garter stitch on the border and then stockinette on the inside, which is why it's kind of like curling up. But I think that should be fixed if I eventually block it. So they actually gave two options for this scarf, either to make it just plain stockinette or put the eyelets in, and I thought the eyelets were cute, so that's what I've been putting on now. So the pattern actually says that you should knit 2 halves and then sew them together, but I thought that I might just modify the pattern a bit and just knit the first part separately and then join them at like the base of like where your neck is, where like the fabric where your neck is. So yeah, so that part I like connect them and then add like 2 extra rows of stockinette in between. So that was my idea, and so far so good. I've reached the as you can see, the part where I'm about to connect. So basically I'm now working on the second part, so I'll be knitting that like, and then it goes like, and then I'll like knit it up to the top essentially. So yeah, it's just been a really fun project. I've really come to realize I really don't mind purling. It's all done flat and I enjoy it. So yeah, this is actually the I thought this was the second piece I was working on, but this is actually the what do you call this again? The swatch. This is the swatch that I made first, and yeah, I'm just like mesmerized by the color. It kind of seems like plain red, but you can see like the color variations because it's like hand dyed. Really, really cool. Okay, they're starting again. Anyway, here I have my second like flap thingy, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good. It's well on its way. It knits up really fast because it's like 3.5 millimeters and DK. So yeah, just really excited for the result. The thing is actually that DK was actually not recommended. DK weight was not recommended by the pattern. It was actually fingering weight, and so I thought, you know what, I'm really enjoying this knitting up this pattern. I think I want to make a second one, and then without the eyelets, but then I'd like to have like a more catchy type of yarn pattern instead. And so I came up with this yarn. Dum da 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 dum. Da-da. I don't think if you can see it really well. Ooh, that was my shoulder. See, da-da. This is this is yarn that I bought in Japan. I bought a couple, maybe like 5 or 6 skeins, I'm not too sure. I think maybe a bit more of hand-dyed yarn in Japan. It turns out that it's like really competitive in terms of like getting these types of yarn. So basically, there was this there's this Japanese sock designer. I think her name is Yuka, and she was holding a cowl, like a very, I think it was called like Very Berry. A mystery cowl, something very, very mystery cowl, in which she like basically just every couple of days she'd give more instructions like of the pattern. She'd publish them on Ravelry, and so eventually you'll find out how the sock looks. And she gave 4 variations, and then she also invited a couple of yarn dyers, mainly in Japan, to dye up some yarn that would be appropriate for the challenge. And there was this one hand dyer that I chose from all of them that I wanted to get some yarn from, and I knew it was like really competitive already, like the like the getting yarn in hand dyed yarn in Japan, at least from some hand dyers. There are others that you can fairly easily get some yarn from, but this one was pretty popular. And so she had a really nice colorway that was like you had the major one, like the biggest, it was like a big skein and then a mini one, and then the big skein was like a very nice berry color, like purplish magenta like color, and then the second one was, I believe, like a bit like pinkish, a bit lighter, but then like interlaced with dark green. So I just thought that was like very cool for the cowl, to knit the cowl with. And so she was like one of the last hand dyers to like release her yarn, so it was kind of like all or nothing. And so I prepared everything, like basically what they do usually is like they launch it online. They'll let you know on Instagram when they're going to launch their new batch of yarn. And so I was there 9 p.m. I was ready, and then it went online. I chose the one that I wanted. I like typed in all my information, and then my credit card did not work. For some reason, the web shop didn't accept it, so I quickly changed and tried to do it with PayPal, but everything was sold out by the time I could change it. And this all happened in a matter of like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. So that's kind of like how cutthroat it was. So yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get any of this like hand dyed popular yarn. But then it turned out that this shop in Kyoto, no, in Osaka, called Eylul Yarns. The owner was coming to Japan, was coming to Tokyo, and she was gonna do like this pop-up store in Shibuya, and I thought, okay, that's like really awesome. And then it turned out that she was selling all these like famous yarn, so she had like a deal with the hand dyers that they would send her like a batch which she could sell there. So I was like, okay, this is like perfect, because there's like this extra hurdle of actually having to physically go to Shibuya. So everyone who doesn't like either live in Tokyo or nearby, is already kind of like ruled out in terms of like the hurdle of getting it is way harder than like just clicking online. So I went to so basically, sorry, this is a bit a long story, but basically what happened was on Instagram, the owner, she basically said, okay, so for like it was a very very tiny space that she rented in Shibuya. And she gave, I think, about 10 people could for free make a reservation beforehand for the first hour of shopping, so that they could shop freely and calmly and like get all the stuff that they want. And then after that, or other people were allowed to come in. And I missed that like reservation thing. That reservation thing was like gone like everything else, basically. Let me see if I'm recording the audio. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so so I didn't have that option, but I ended up like getting into the knit night that she organized that same day. So yeah, because I had made that reservation in the evening, I thought it would just be a good plan to come early in the morning and then wait for the people to finish their shopping, and then I could get the yarn that I wanted, hang around in Shibuya with a friend, and then go back in the evening to do the knit night. And so that was the plan. So I think the store opened at about 10. So I figured, okay, if I'm going to be there, I was thinking that people were already going to like line up because it's so popular. Because I've seen like some other knit events in Tokyo, and like people are like bananas for yarn. So it's quite kind of like competitive, which is kind of kind of wild to imagine. But yeah, I thought, okay, let me just be early just to ensure that I can get the yarn that I want. So yeah, I think the store opened at around 10, and I wanted to be there around 10 because I figured like, well, it's probably not going to take all that long to get all the yarn that people wanted. It's just 10 people, like how long could they stay in a store? So I thought I'd come there at 10. I lost my way, and I ended up, I think, coming there at like 20 past 10. And when I was there, all the people who had made a reservation were already in there for 20 minutes, and I was second in line. So there was just only one woman waiting, and then I ended up waiting about another half an hour just for all of the people to finish doing their shopping. And oh my gosh, it was horrible, because this was, summer Japan, like 35 degrees, and it was like a really old building, and I was sweating. I only had like one of these fans, so I was sweating my ass off, and there was like no air conditioning. So it was kind of rough waiting there for half an hour, but it was worth it. But yeah, I every single time I'd see like someone like coming out, and they just had like a huge bag of like hand-dyed yarn, and it was fun because we're all like yarn lovers, right? So we were all just like kind of like every time someone would come out, they would like show the yarn that they got, and it was just like a fun experience. So yeah, so that happened after half an hour of waiting. I entered, and yeah, like a lot of the stock, of like some stock, it was like people had bought stuff. I knew people had bought stuff, but like it was it was just surprising how like little there was left of like the popular hand dyers. So but I did get like all the yarn that I wanted from certain people, and and yeah, this one was one of them. So yeah, so that's kind of like long story short. I bought this in Japan, and it was a struggle, but it was very worth it. I just really love this colorway. But yes, yeah, let me give you some info on this. This is Itobito's sock yarn. It's 85% SW extra fine merino. I don't know what SW is, to be honest, but I'll look that up and I'll put it here. Anyway, moving on, this also contains 15% nylon, and it is a fingering weight 400 meters per 100 gram. Yeah, so let me just show you like the other yarn that I got from the pop-up store. So I got this really interesting yarn, and this is from Big Little Yarn. Yeah, let me just yeah, Big Little Yarn, and it's in the colorway Hanami. So yeah, this is also one of the more popular dyers in Japan. The person behind it is actually American Japanese, and also I think pretty like popular in Western knitting circles. I believe a couple of years ago she moved to Japan, so that's her base at the moment. But yeah, I got this yarn. I just thought it was like very interesting, the texture of it, and I thought the colors were really pretty. So yeah, like I said, the colorway is Hanami, and or like it's called Hanami, and it's 70% organic wool and then 30% linen, and it is a 3-ply fingering weight 466 meters per 100 grams. And basically for all of like the hand-dyed yarns, I only bought one skein just for like the experience. I didn't want to make like a huge project, so I thought it would be fun to make like buy like a couple of skeins from different dyers and then just make tiny things, just kind of like as a fun memory to my time in Japan. So I was just kind of like thinking about this today when I was preparing for the podcast, and I came up with maybe just making like a tiny bag, and I could make a number of bags since it's 100 grams. And the reason why I thought of that is because I also bought like maybe 3 or 4 pieces of cloth in Japan as well, because I really wanted to try different things while I was there, or at least like buy things to give me kind of like a jump start into doing other type of like handcrafty things. So one of these cloths is this one. So it's 110 centimeters by 50 centimeters. So I think perfect for like a bag or multiple bags. Essentially, it's 100% cotton, and I bought this at Yuzawaya, which is like a chain store of like a chain handcraft store in Japan. Really cool. I'd highly recommend going to a couple if you happen to be in Japan. And the reason why I chose this was just because I just like put these two together, like just to see how it would fit. And I just thought like the combination just made me really happy. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Maybe make a couple and then, I don't know, gift them to some friends or family. So that's the plan for this. But yeah, it's just a plan at the moment. Definitely not something that's on my priority list at the moment. Because I mean, things are changing for my family at the moment. So I'll talk about that later. But yeah, very exciting stuff. Yeah, so then moving on, I got this yarn as well. So this is actually yarn dyed in Indonesia. It's Papiput yarn. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And yeah, I just thought the reason why I got this was because I thought it was a really interesting blend of fibers. It's 50% mesmerized merino wool. Don't know what mesmerized is. I should have looked it up. Yeah, and then 50% silk. I don't know. I just love the way it's like spun. It just looked really interesting to me. So yeah, this is fingering weight, 400 grams. No, 400 meters per 100 grams. I don't have an idea what I'm going to do with this one. Still need to think about it. And that's also like why I didn't want to buy too much, because I was like, I don't want to make too many like makeup projects in my mind. Like, oh, I have 300 yarn, 300 grams of this, 400 grams of this. Oh, what could I do with it? Just kind of like simple, tiny things that you could like finish within a couple of days. And then here we have, here we have the yarn from the yarn dyer that escaped me the other time. This is Tamayura yarn. And yeah, let me just give you the specs. Also, look how cute. There's like this like pebble thingy as well, like here on the like the clip. Yeah, so it is 78% virgin wool. It's again the SW. I don't know what that is. Extra fine merino. 15% silk and 7% rami. So I looked up what a rami is, and apparently it is an East Asian plant that is part of the nettle family. And I just thought that that was really cool as well, because you know, I've been knitting with nettle since a couple of months, and I've really liked the experience. I've liked the feel of the yarn that I've been knitting with. So I just thought it was really cool. And oh yeah, this particular yarn also has a name, and that is Silky Rami. Yeah, or Ramie. I'm not too sure if it's like Japanese pronunciation or just English. Yes. Also, I happened also by during that knit night, knit cafe in the evening. I told the women there about my experience of trying to get this yarn. And then I was explaining it, and then one of the ladies asked if I actually ended up doing the knit along, the cow from Yuka, and I was like, no, I ended up not doing it. And then she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was just like, why is this lady telling me she's sorry? And then it turned out it was the dyer. So I ended up meeting her there, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a great night. Definitely one of my highlights in Japan. So yeah, that's cool. So, yes, okay. Moving on to like the last project. I really don't have all that much to show at the moment. It's all just kind of like half done and like not making all that much progress or like visible progress. So if there's some things I haven't spoken about from like a couple of weeks ago, it's probably just laying here in one of my plastic bags. But one project I don't think I've spoken about before is this summer top that I wanted to make. And it's a pattern by Lizard and Hook, and it's a crochet pattern. Lizard and Hook is a crochet designer, I think very, very popular on Instagram. So I got the pattern for her Venus top, and yeah, basically it's an interesting pattern. So I can show you like it's basically making pentagons and squares of like this motif, and then like putting it all together, and then it will make like a bralette. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. It's been going a bit slowish. I actually tried doing different colorways, like different color combinations. This one is actually the first one I tried, and then this is like the second one. I just thought that this one was kind of like hard to see the flower in the middle because the yarn is so dark, and I don't know, I wasn't really feeling this much of like, it's kind of like bluish, like maybe a bit of purple. I didn't really feel like it fit in all that well, so I decided just to do mainly just like the light magenta purplish stuff, and then the darker purple on the sides, and then like when doing like crocheting the pieces together, I just use this one as like a nice type of contrasty color. I don't know, but yeah, so this is actually the only complete one I have at the moment. I just figured that I would work with just like doing first the basic stuff, like the just working with one color first and then continuing on with the other color after I've done worked with all the, just first do everything that is in one specific color and then move on to the next one. So yeah, I just have 3 more. I think I've lost one of these flowers. I've done 3 or 4 of these essentially. And yeah, the yarn that I'm using, I mean, as you can see, it's actually like, how many strings? I'm pretty sure it's like 9 strings of very fine yarn, and that's because it's factory yarn. It's leftover factory yarn I found on this Japanese website. I don't know what it's called. It's like this website where you can buy like handmade stuff, handcrafty type of things, and there's this one factory that sells their leftover yarn. So they had quite a lot of it, and they sold this set with 3 of these colors. I think about like, I don't know how much, maybe like at least 60 grams for each, and I ended up paying maybe €5 altogether. It's 100% merino yarn. I have the specs here actually. No, I don't have the specs here. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it, just 100% merino. I just don't know the thickness of it. But yeah, I for the hook size it was 3 millimeters. So that's everything for projects at the moment. Still working on the socks. Found a nice set of 44mm needles for the sweater. Okay, so lastly, I just wanted to talk about some tiny projects that I got in Japan, some tiny kits that I thought were cool to make. So yeah. First up, I have, well, it's already open, so it kind of looks a bit weird, but it's this like keychain from one of the Sumiko Gurashi characters. It's a franchise in Japan of like these cute animals. They have like snail looking things and stuff like that. My kanji dictionary is actually from this like group, so I thought it was fun to also have like this keychain. I started working on it and then I kind of quit, so hopefully I can finish this off really quickly. It doesn't really seem like a very like intense project. As you can see here on the back, this is kind of like how it's supposed to look in the end. Then I still have the sheep that I showed before. Still haven't done it. But I did add to like those like felt projects. I found these 3 cute pandas which I got from Yuzawaya. Then also I got I did like a how do you call it, like an embroidery brooch. So I saw this like wallet and I thought it would be nice to give this a try as well. I got this at Yuzawaya as well. That's why the sticker is here. And I'm not completely a fan of everything that's here, so I'm definitely going to make modifications just like the last time that I made like an embroidery thingy. So here's like some of the materials in the back, and then I have like cross stitch things, 3 packets that I got at I think it's called I got it at Rakuten, so that's another like Japanese, I don't know how I'd call it, maybe like the Japanese AliExpress, but actually you can buy things that are from like brands. So it's not like they're not selling knockoffs or anything like that. It's just companies selling the articles just slightly cheaper than mortar and brick stores. I think like the logical explanation is just that it's cheaper to just have a warehouse and send stuff out of that instead of having like a mortar and brick store in Japan, especially Tokyo, because that's expensive as heck. So basically I got these 2 like handkerchief, I don't know, I wouldn't say boxes, like file things, I don't know. It's like just a piece of cloth in which you like put tissues in and you can take them out. I just thought it was really cute. Whoop. So this one is strawberry, and then this one yeah, just violets on them. Guess those are violets? Yeah. And then finally I have this baggie that has, I don't know, oh yeah, tulips. But yeah, I thought this bag would be cute as like a tiny thing that I could keep in my bag when I go to school, so I can put my sock yarn and my needles in there just to protect it from the rest. It also comes with a clasp, which you can see here. Then a last craft that I wanted to talk about that I got. I wouldn't say they're kits, they're just patterns essentially. So I got patterns for like Mompe pants. So apparently these pants were used by workers in I don't know if it's like industrial era, but they were like really popular. I actually saw like on Wikipedia like a black and white picture of female workers wearing these with like kimono type garment on top, like well actually this thingy on top. And I found a couple Mercury, but they were already sold out. A couple of vintage ones, and I thought it was really cool. And then I was thinking, wait, they are made of cotton. And what I've noticed in like looking at traditional Japanese garments and just dyeing, they use like similar dyeing techniques that are also like dyeing techniques that are similar to the ones from my own heritage. And so I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to just fuse these together? So use the patterns, the traditional Japanese patterns, with the dyeing, like fabric dyed, like African dyed fabric, basically. And I actually have quite a couple of fabrics which I wanted to which I tried like making stuff out of a couple of years back, but only made like surgical masks for myself. So I just thought, oh, it would be like a really cool thing to do. And then I also found this really cute thingy here, this baby romper. It says jinbe. I don't know exactly what that means. Romper jinbe. I think that's what it's called, like a jinbe romper. And I just thought that this was really cute because it's like such, well, I wouldn't say particularly like an easy project, but it's tiny. So that kind of like might make it like slightly easier. Yeah, so I thought, oh, this is really cute. And what happens is that one of like our family friends is pregnant. So I thought, oh, this would be so nice to make something for her baby. And then yesterday I got news that we're getting an additional family member as well. So that's really, really exciting. So I'm definitely going to try and make this for them as well. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to make it for the two babies, and then like they have like matching sets. I just thought it was like really like such a fun idea. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening. I am switching up a couple of my knitting plans for the coming couple of months to prepare for the new baby. Oh my gosh, it's like yeah. So I'm just really, really excited for that. So you will be seeing more like baby stuff. So I think I should leave it for now, like this podcast, because I've spoken about a lot and I don't want to make it too long. So yeah, I still have a couple of things that I want to talk about. I don't have time to film the next coming days, but I'll figure it out. I think like next week, the next podcast episode is going to be the last or second to last one to like catch up on everything. And then it's kind of like back to business as usual, just kind of like showing updates and new things. One thing I've definitely learned from living in Japan is trying to be more appreciative of the knitting culture that is here in the Netherlands, looking for like hand dye knitters in the Netherlands, looking like what people are doing here in the Netherlands when it comes to knitting and the history as well. I have looked that up a couple of times, like maybe 3 years ago, but I think the most that I found were like fisherman sweaters. But maybe I can look into that a bit more and see if there's more going on there. And maybe I can find some old knitting books as well. I found a lot of like vintage Japanese knitting books. So hopefully I can talk about that next episode. So I think that's everything for my rambling today. As always, thank you so much for listening and spending time with me. And I hope to see you next time in another video. Okay, Bye bye.